Welcome back. Thom Hartmann here with you, and Mike Papantonio is on the line with us.
Tom, how are you?
I'm great. How are you, Pap?
Good.
The attorney, the host of Ring of Fire Radio, ringofireradio.com, Ring of Fire TV, also on Free Speech TV. So, killing the poor. Really?
Well, which way? I mean, there's so many ways.
Let me set you off on this rant, Pap. Pap attack of the day. Go for it.
Well, here it is. I mean, you've got there's two stories that I've been talking about all day today on radio, and that is that obviously we kill the poor by taking $47 million away from in food stamps while we're giving while we're taking billionaires. This is an interesting number. Billionaires worth $316 million are owners of companies that are getting subsidies from the government in the Farm Bill while we're taking $47 million away from people who can't afford to eat in the Farm Bill. That's just part of it. You know where we're really going to see it, Tom? We're going to see it in January and February.
Yeah.
January and February, what's going to happen is you're going to have, it's already done. I mean, I feel almost foolish talking about what might happen in January and February because I know what's going to happen. It's already done. The Feinsteins have won. The Erskine Bowles crowd has won, and you're going to see the Democrats give up the rights of working poor so billionaires can make more money. And you hear the arguments already. Tune in if you can stomach it without a gag reflex. Watch Sunday programming where you're going to hear people you're going to hear all the talking heads, whether it's Feinstein, whether it's Durbin, Warner, you name it. They're talking about the idea that, gee whiz, we have to give up these rights for the working poor because we need more revenue. And it's already been done. And you have Obama talking about his talking code words are, gee whiz, we can't really take anything off the table at this point. This is going to be a very ugly story. Wall Street Democrats are in charge of the narrative, and it's really unfortunate for the average American middle class or working poor.
Yeah, and in some ways this goes back to when Wall Street took over the Democratic Party, and not just Wall Street, when business took over the Democratic Party. And I think a lot of that tracks back to that Buckley versus Vallejo decision.
Yes.
And the Powell memo, this strategy by big business and Lewis Powell, of course, representing the tobacco industries at the time, to insert money into our political discourse to the point that pretty much no political party or politician, unless they were in a small enough state like Bernie Sanders is in Vermont, where he's probably shaken the hand of every person in that state 3 times in all the years he's represented them. I know he shook my hand twice before I even, knew him personally. I mean, he's
the real thing.
Yeah, you just show up and there's, hey, let's go into town on Saturday. Oh, who's that in the middle of town in the town square? Oh, it's Bernie Sanders. He's holding town meeting. I mean, if you've got the luxury of doing that, but you can't do that in New York State, you can't do that in California, and can't do that in Michigan. And so what has happened is that money has replaced that. And we now have a wholly owned Republican Party and a partially owned Democratic Party. And I think we can track it all back to these royalists. So Louise and I had dinner last night with a friend from the UK who next week is being knighted or whatever they call it by the Queen. She's getting an OBE, Order of the British Empire. It's like this great. Literally, she'll bow down before the Queen and the whole whoop-de-doop for some incredible stuff that she's done, and it hit me. The Queen of England has less power than the Supreme Court does. She does not have the power to strike down laws passed by Congress or signed by the Prime Minister or the President. She can dissolve Parliament, but it just comes right back, into place. She can't strike down laws. Our Supreme Court has, through this doctrine of judicial review and the misuse of it with this money is speech and corporations are persons thing, they have become the kings of this country. And there is no kingdom in the Western world. There's still a king there's a queen in the Netherlands. There's a king or a queen in Denmark and in Norway. They don't have the power that the Supreme Court does, Pap.
Well, wait till you see McCutcheon. Wait till you get a load of what they're going to do to us with McCutcheon that is going to be, the majority right-wing boobs that are now, politicos, basically they're politicians with black robes.
Yes.
They're going to grant the McCutcheon relief that they're asked for, and there are going to be no rules on it. But look, Dianne Feinstein, Max Baucus, Joe Manchin, Chris Coons, Tom Carper, Michael Bennett, there's not an ounce of Democratic blood running through these people except maybe on social issues. And see, if you follow the news today is they're talking about social issues. Now, don't get me wrong, these are important social issues, whether it has to do with immigration, whether it has to do with gender rights, they're important social issues. But where it comes to the bread and butter issues that affect Americans who are trying to feed their family, these are the Wall Street Democrats that have, it's almost, Tom, what it is, it's almost, look at this shiny thing over here that I'm doing for you.
No, the Democrats are doing the same thing with gay marriage that the Republicans do with abortion.
Completely. And so don't pay attention to what's taking place behind the curtain, because the Democrats have made this unholy bond with Wall Street. Tom, let me tell you something. You may think that this is absolutely way out there. It's not. You will start seeing Koch brother type money moving into Democratic races at state levels. That's the first place you'll see it. You already have the Koch money moving into things like city commissioners and dog catcher races, for God's sakes. That money will move in. Matter of fact, tomorrow I'm going to be interviewing somebody running for state house position that's running against this Koch type money. They're Democrat, but their money's coming wholly from corporate America, AT&T, all types of dark money avenues, that when we start looking at it, Kochs are actually empowering, by this next election, we'll see them empowering Democrats because they're so certain that Democrats have lost their moral compass. And so, who would have dreamed that? I never would even thought of saying such a thing even a year ago. But now if it's a different story with McCutcheon, it's going to be even more of a probability. Yeah.
So what do we do about it?
Well, I think the thing to do is at some point we have to stop being nice. We have to. This idea of gee whiz, the media is going to take care of us, or some small faction of the Democratic Party is going to take care of us. The problem, Tom, is the cavalry is not coming. Okay, and this is very difficult for people to understand. The cavalry is not coming. You're not going to wake up tomorrow and have somebody solving your problems. And the only way to push this administration moving into January and February is the same thing we've seen on gender rights, where pushback was so strong that Obama had to react.
Right.
Syria, pushback was so strong, Obama had to react. Larry Summers, pushback was strong. But where did the pushback take place? Took place in the streets. Took place on the social media. Social media is very powerful. This is a president who believes that he is going to have a legacy that's meaningful. And if he continues this course, he's not going to have a meaningful legacy. It's going to be one he's going to look back at and be embarrassed. We should help him from having to do that. We should help him not be embarrassed when he looks back and says, this is what I accomplished for the American people.
So it's the getting out in the streets is like MoveToAmend.org now has over 500 local chapters around the country. Progressive Democrats of America, over 300 chapters, local chapters around the country, PDAmerica.org. There are groups that are completely independent of any political party that are transforming America right now as we speak, that people can participate in. And good progressives can show up at the local Democratic Party and say, I want to run for precinct committee chair, and then they get to write the party platform and decide who's going to be in the primaries.
We can hope for that day, can't we?
Yeah. Well, look at the Concord Project, how they taught Tea Partiers how to take over the Republican Party. They were incredibly successful. I got to send you the videos on that sometime. Have you seen those videos?
I haven't.
Oh, I got to send you this. This is amazing. Anyhow, Mike Papantonio, ringofireradio.com. Thanks, Pap.
Thank you, Tom.